So Shritama has actually sent us some, okay, which she got from Times, I think. Okay, and I was doing this sum, and while doing this sum, I also have faced couple of hiccups. Okay, but finally, I mean, when I was reading the sum in the beginning, it will appear to be very easy. I mean, this sum to be very gentle, noble sum. Okay, but when you see multiple questions of that sum, you will realize that there is something wrong with this sum. Okay, something wrong with this sum. So you see, each person living in a certain city speaks exactly one language among six different languages. Okay, English, Hindi, Malayalam, Tamil, Telugu, and Marathi. Okay. The first pie chart below gives the number of persons in the city who speak each language at the beginning of 2015. The second pie chart gives the exact percentage breakup of the number of persons who speak each language, okay, at the beginning of 2020. It is known that between 2015 and 20, no person learned to speak another language, and there were no births or deaths in the city. However, some persons in the city might have moved out, okay, of the city, and some person from outside might have moved into the city. Every person who moved into the city speaks exactly one of the six languages. Okay, so what it is telling that there are two pie charts. Okay, two pie charts. So this is the sum on pie chart. Also, you can say direction based sums, right? So the first pie chart shows the number of persons in a city who speak different languages, the exact number of people, okay, 2000, 1500, 3000, etc. in 2015. And the second pie chart shows that in 2020, what is the percentage of people who speak different languages, okay? Now during this period, 2015 to 20, nobody learned any new language. Okay, during this period, 2015 to 20, nobody learned any new language. But there are people who moved out of the city, there are people who came into the city. So the change in the percentage of this language is because of people moving out and people coming in. That's the reason. Okay, now what we're saying, if the number of persons who speak Hindi remain the same during the given period, okay, if the number of persons who speak Hindi remains same, okay, during the given period, what is the minimum number of persons who have moved out of the city? So what it is telling that in this two pie charts, the number of people who spoke Hindi remains the same. Then what is the minimum number of people who moved out of the city? So what does it mean? You see here, what is the Hindi percentage? 20%. Okay, now I don't know what is the total population of 2020. Let me take it as X. So 20% of X, right? 20% of X. So the total population I'm taking is X. So 20% of X is equals to what? 3500, right? And what is X? X is 3500 into 100 by 20. Okay, so that means the total population of the city in 2020 is 1750. Okay, okay, now we need to find out what is the minimum number of persons who have moved out of the city. Now see, when you see when you see the sum for the first time, you can see that here the number of people, I mean the population in 2020 is 17,500. In 2015, if you add up all these numbers, you will see we'll get, I think, 14,500. Okay, if you add up all these numbers, you will get 14,500. So in 2015, the total number of people is 14,500. In 2020, what is the total number of people? 17,500. So of course the number of people have increased, right? The population is increased. Then how can people moved out of the city? That means people have came in. How can people move out of the city if the total population is increased? Now here is the catch. The total population is increased, but it might happen that for each of these languages of people, there might be some people who have gone out and who have came in. Say for example, Hindi people, I'm just giving an example. Say Hindi people, out of 3,520 people went out, and in English 40 people came in. So what is the net flow? 20 people came in, right? So we have to compare the initial and final values of each languages, initial, final. Now what are the different languages? Marathi, English, Hindi, Malayalam, Tamil, Telugu, 6. Now so what is the initial? Marathi is 2000, final is 20% of what? 17,500. Okay.
15%.
Hmm? What? Marathi is 20%.
हाँ
So if I calculate this, I'll get 3,500. For English, there are 1,500. Four three seven five. For Hindi, initially there is 3,500, and for Hindi we have both same because that is what was said that the Hindi number of people are same. For Malayalam, it is 2,000 and 2625. For Tamil, 2,500, and here Tamil is 10%, is 1750. Telugu is 3,000, and here Telugu is okay. Now if you see the difference delta, okay, or if I just tell out that we need to find out how many minimum number of persons who have moved out. So moved out. Now see, in Marathi, number of people who moved out is 0. Hi Ritama, thank you for joining.
Hi, sir.
We were missing you.
Sorry
Okay,
for being late.
no problem. Big people always come late. Okay, so Marathi moved out is 0. English, you see English earlier it was 1500, now it is 4375. Of course, number of people came in, so moved out is 0. Hindi also moved out 0. Malayalam also moved out 0. But Tamil, you see Tamil there is a difference. So 750 people moved out actually. And for Telugu, 1250 people moved out actually. Okay. So what is the total number of people who moved out? What is the total number of people who moved out? 750 plus 1250. That is 2000. Did you understand?
Yes, sir.
Ishika?
Sir, can we do it by using 360?
360 degree.
Yes,
but
sir.
but here you have to actually find out the number of people who left, who moved out of the city. I don't know how will you do it. See how, why, when do we use 360-degree method? We use 360-degree method when we need to find out the say proportion. Okay, say
Hmm.
English is how much proportion of the whole thing. At that time we use 360 degree. Okay,
Okay, sir. Hmm.
if it was asked that in 2015 English is how much proportion of the whole pie chart, at that time we or if it was given that English covers how much degree of the pie chart. Okay, say this one, this angle, this angle is how much degree, then we had to find out pie chart with the help of 360 degree. But here we have to find out how many people moved out of the city, so here you have to calculate the numbers.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so I'm sending this. Okay, don't I mean copy it now, copy it after this class. Okay, try to understand now. If you have copied, then fine, otherwise don't waste time in copying. I'm sending this. So this is part 1. Any questions part 1, Niladri? So here you see the common mistake that a person could have made. That person could have calculated the total population of 2015 and he can see that it is 14,500. Then he could have calculated the total population of 2020 and he could have said it is 17,500. Then of course there is no outflow, but it is not the case. In each of the languages there can be people who have moved out, so that is what we need to find. Okay, let's move come to the next one. So here you see what it is telling. If no persons moved out of the city between 2015 and 20, understand this thing very nicely. If no persons moved out of the city between 2015 and 20, what is the minimum number of persons who speak Malayalam that must have moved into the city? So now you see what is what is the population in 2015? 14,500, right? This is the population in 2015. Now it is telling that no one moved out of 2015. I mean, moved out of the city between 2015 and 20. So tell me now. Let, as I stated earlier, only let the population of 2020 be x, right? Now, if no people moved out of the city between 2015 and 20, then that means what? X is greater than equals to 14,500. Yes or no? Nobody moved out, but there can be people who moved in. Yes or no? Nobody
Yes,
moved
sir.
out of the city, but there can be people who moved in. So that means if X is the total population of the city in 2020, then X is greater than equals to 14,500. Greater than equals to, that means it can be greater or equals to, but it cannot be less. Why? Because the moment it becomes less, that means that people moved out of the city, but that is not possible because here it has been stated. Okay. Now we are going to find out again what are the values of each languages. So English is going to be what? 25% of X, 0.25 of X, right? Now 0.25 of X. So as I stated earlier that nobody moved out of the city. What is the total number of English speaking people? 1500 in 2015. In 2020 it is how many? 0.25x. So that means what? 0.25x has to be greater than equals to 1500, right? Because no English people has moved out. That means 1500 is of course there, but somebody might have come in, right? So 0.25x is greater than equals to 1500. So that will give me x is greater than equals to 1500 by 0.25. Right? Did you understand this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes, sir.
What about সুপ্রতিম, বুঝতে পারছো তো? আচ্ছা তো সুপ্রতিম? Okay. Marathi is 0.2x will be what? Greater than equals to 2000. So x is greater than equals to 2000 by 0.2, that is greater than equals to 10,000. Telugu 0.1x greater than equals to 3000. Telugu is here. So that is x is greater than equals to what? 30,000. Malayalam 0.5x greater than equals to 1333.33. Okay. Hindi, that is 0.2x greater than 17500. All done. 1 2 3 4 5. One more. Tamil
Tamil.
0.1x greater than equals to okay. All these values are coming. Now you see what are the different possible ranges of x2 we have. X is greater than equals to 14,500. This is one we have. Then we have x is greater than equals to 6,000. We have x is greater than 10,000. We have x is greater than 30,000. We have x is greater than 13,333. We have x is greater than 17,500. We have x is greater than 25,000. We have. Now tell me, out of these so many uh, ranges of x are there, which value if I choose will satisfy all of this? Which value of x,
6,000.
if I take x greater than 6,000, then x can be 7,000, right? Right,
Mm.
it satisfies x greater than 7,000. But does x satisfy this first equation, first in equation, x greater than equals to 14,500? It doesn't satisfy. If I take x greater than equals to 6,000, will it satisfy the second in equation, x greater than equals to 10,000? It will not
No,
satisfy,
sir.
right? So which value of x should I take such that it will satisfy all the inequations? All the inequations will become true.
30,000.
Yes, 30,000. If I take x equals to 30,000, then all the inequations are becoming true. Okay. See, there are how many people are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 people. Including me, 6 people. Everybody says that Shritama. I say that Shritama has eaten more than 2 pantuas. Niladri says Shritama has eaten more than 5 pantuas. Ritama says Shritama has eaten more than 11 pantuas. Supratim says Shritama has eaten more than 1 pantua. Ishika says Shritama has eaten more than 30 pantuas. Okay, so which value if I take will make all of us speak the truth? Which value? Everybody
So
is
the
supposed to speak
highest one.
31, right? If I say that Shritama has eaten 30 pantuas, then that will satisfy all of us, all of our answers, because we are all speaking truth. Nobody is speaking lie. Okay. Okay, so if I taking x equals to 30,000. Okay, so that satisfies all of them. Now you see, if x is 30,000, well, in 2022, then in 2022, Malayalam speaking people will be how many? 15%. Okay, 45,000, 4,500. And in 2015, how many were there? 2,000. Okay, in 2000. So moved in will be how many? 2,500. Did you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now the next one. If no persons moved out of the city, okay. So now what it is telling, if no persons moved out of the city, again same thing. Between 2015 and 2020, what is the minimum number of people that must have moved into the city? Very simple. Just it is connected with the previous question that we did. If no person moved out, then that means someone moved in. Okay. So if people have moved in only, okay, then population in 2020 is going to be what? That 30,000. Okay. Therefore, so immigrants are about 30,000 minus 14,500, 15,500. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Ishika,
Yes, sir.
Supratim, okay. Then Supratim's connection is not very strong today. Okay. Okay. If no person moved into the city now, okay. Now the question is, if no person moved into the city between 2015 and 20, what is the minimum number of persons that must have moved out of the city? So this time what you are going to do, in 2020 we have considered x to be population to be x, right? So that means what? If no person moved into the city, that means it might happen that people have moved out of the city. So that means this x will be what, less than equals to 14,500, right? it will not be greater than equals to 14,500 anymore, it will be less than equals to. Do you understand? If no person moved
Yes, sir.
into the city, then somebody might have moved outside the city, so it will be less than equals to 14,500. So now again that same thing, we are going to do. Okay, Marathi people is going to be what? 0.2x, that is going to be less than 14,500. Okay, x is going to be less than, what was the value of x? That same thing is going to come only. So if I open this, just in place of greater than, everything is going to become less than. So let me write down exactly what I did in question number 2. Just the sign is going to get reversed. English. So 0.25x is less than equals to 1500. Okay, 6000. Marathi. Okay, Telugu. That same thing. Okay, just the sign is getting changed. I'm directly writing down. Okay, understood. Now you tell me, which value of x should I choose that will satisfy all these equations? Which value of x should I?
1333.
1333.33.
Okay, sorry, here there was a mistake. It will be 40,000 by, this will be 133, one more 3 will be there. Okay, just make this correction in that. This will be 13,333. I wrote 1,333. Okay, because it was 2,000 into 20. So 40,000 divided by 3 is actually 13,333, this one. Okay, please make this correction. Okay, I made a mistake over here. It will be 13,333. This will be 13,300, one more 3 will be here. Okay, so
Sir, 6,000
6,000, yes. So this is the x maximum in this case. Okay, x maximum, this is what is the maximum value of x such that it will satisfy all these equations. So it is 6,000. Now, so what is the minimum number of persons that has moved out of the city? So x maximum is 6,000. Okay, so that means how many people moved out? That is earlier 14,500 minus 6,000. Okay,
8,500.
that is 8,500 is the answer. Please in the initial part make this correction. This will be 13,333. Okay. Ishika got dropped. Ishika, tell me which part you missed. You missed the climax, I think. Which part you missed, Ishika?
Yes, sir. So this x1
Okay.
maximum.
Okay. See, now it is given that no person moved into the city. That means what? Somebody moved out of the city, right? So initial number of population was 14,500. Initial number of population was 14,500, right? So if nobody moved
Hmm.
in, then somebody moved out, then that means what? Then x will be less than equals to 14,500.
Okay, sir.
14,500 is the maximum value of x. So x will be less than equals to 14,500. So that means English is going to be what? 0.25x less than equals to 1500. Just opposite to what we did in question number 2. If we solve all this two, I'll get x maximum is equals to 6,000. Okay, because see, these are the different inequations we are getting. Okay, so what is the
Hmm.
maximum value? What will be the value of x that will satisfy all this? 6,000, right?
Hmm.
Initial population in 2015 was 14,500 minus 6,000 is 8,500. Okay.
Hmm.